For 5 minutes.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, it is my understanding that President Obama's decision regarding the release into the U.S. of a number of Uyghur detainees held at Guantanamo Bay since 2002 could be imminent. The New York Times, ABC News, and other news outlets have reported that the President will soon release these terrorists into the United States. Yet this Congress has not been briefed on this decision. Let me be clear, these terrorists would not be held in prisons, but they would be released in your neighborhoods. They should not be released into the United States. Do members realize who these people are? There have been published reports that the Uyghurs were members of the Eastern Turkestan Islamic Movement, a designated terrorist organization affiliated with Al-Qaeda. Releasing the Uyghurs is a matter of grave concern, a matter which prompted me to send a letter to the President last Friday detailing my reservations about any course of action that could pose a threat to the American people. In my letter, I called on the President to declassify all information about the capture and detention of the Uyghur detainees, including a threat assessment for each detainee who would be released in the U.S. The American people, Madam Speaker, deserve the facts about these detainees and the risk they potentially pose to our communities. Following the precedent that the administration set in declassifying the Office of Legal Counsel interrogation memos, they have a moral obligation to the American people to declassify all relevant information related to the Uyghur detainees. This administration has already shown that it has no qualms about releasing selected classified documents. The White House cannot just pick and choose what classified information it deems worthy of releasing. It cannot have it both ways. It shouldn't release information that conveniently makes the case without making information with profound national security implications available to the American people. After learning this decision was imminent, I requested briefings from a number of relevant agencies, but all the agencies have told me that the Department of Justice, our Department of Justice, is now preventing them from speaking to me directly on this issue. So much for being open, so much for disclosure. Is the Attorney General preventing agencies from answering members' questions? Is this a political decision being made by Eric Holder, the Attorney General? This is not the transparency and accountability the President promised, nor is it the open and constructive relationship they claim they want with Congress. This is at best is poor judgment, and at worst, it's dangerous hypocrisy. Is the administration intent on keeping Congress and the American people in the dark about critically important national security issues? Madam Speaker, I have criticized both Republican and Democratic administrations for actions that I believe undermine the safety and the security of the American people. I have not received responses to 2 letters to Attorney General Holder on the transfer of Guantanamo Bay prisoners. The first letter was dated March 13th. The second letter was dated April 23rd, and I will submit them for the record. And they still have not answered the letters. And my office has been told by the White House that some of the questions I have asked cannot even be answered. When Attorney General Holder appeared before the Commerce, Justice, Science, and Appropriations Subcommittee, he pointedly said he would not play hide and seek with the information. What are they now trying to hide from the American people? The Attorney General is slow-rolling the information as terrorist detainees are potentially going to be released into the United States. According to an LA Times article published last week, quote, the Homeland Security Department has registered concerns about the plan among other government agencies. And information I have received indicates that the Uyghurs may be more dangerous than the public has been led to believe. And just last night, 60 Minutes had a disturbing segment which touched on the radicalization of the Guantanamo Bay detainees. The story indicated that in Saudi Arabia alone, of 117 men returned from Guantanamo, 11 have shown up again on Saudi Arabia's most wanted terrorist list. Any intelligence assessment of the Uyghurs must take into account not only their previous training at terrorist camps, but the potential subsequent exposure to the likes like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who masterminded 9/11, who took the pleasure of beheading Wall Street Journal reporter Daniel Pearl. The American people, I say to this administration, the American people have a right to know all the facts. And I fear personally that expediency is clouding their judgment, which is inexcusable after we see what took place on 9/11. The stakes are simply too high for this administration. The reason we think that the American people should simply take their word that these men pose no security threats. I call on the Obama administration to release all the information that they have available so the American people can make the judgment.
Time is expired.
And ask unanimous to revise and extend.
Without objection. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the Chair declares the House in recess until 2 p.m. today.